to just the ambiance and just, playing in front of people. And so just the early jitters for sure.
Yeah, Lindenwood wins the tip, and they will get it going here, as you mentioned, Trey. First time either of these teams have played in front of fans in more than a year after COVID made last season fanless across NCAA basketball. Here is Jacoby Ross holding it out up top. This is the player to watch for Lindenwood. Led them in scoring in their other exhibition game against St. Louis University. Kevin Caldwell Jr. dribbling to the edge, and now late shot clock. Burrell trying to drive in, fadeaway jumper, nothing but air. That is not where Lindenwood wants the ball at the end of the shot clock.
Yeah, and I think that was a great start by Northwestern. You want to set the tone early, especially against a Division II team. Great defense right there by the Wildcats.
Yeah, a bit of a missed pass there. That's the first-year Casey Simmons getting the start in the exhibition game, and he missed Pete Nance. Of course, Northwestern dealing with some injuries. Chase Audige out for this game, along with Ryan Young, two guys who we expect to see either in the starting lineup or in the first six at least for this Wildcat squad. And it's time to see what Simmons has.
Yeah, Simmons is the guy that Northwestern is high on. He's a guy who could guard all 5 positions. So look for him to, make an immediate impact for the Wildcats here.
Caldwell dribbling himself into a bit of a pickle in the corner. He's got 7 on the shot clock. Not a lot of urgency from up top. Gets the screen. Now working against Robbie Barron. Caldwell's got to make something out of nothing. Drives in. Gets it up in time. And the tip. Wow, athletic jump from Romelo Burrell. How'd he get over those Northwestern defenders? I don't know. But Lindenwood strikes first.
Yeah, Burrell is a Division I athlete that played at Central Michigan. So he's a guy that can compete athletically against the Wildcats.
You mentioned it. Played under current Lindenwood head coach Kyle Gerdeman while he was an assistant at Central Michigan. Came with Gerdeman to Lindenwood. He could be playing in Division I basketball right now. Absolutely, Trey. As you mentioned, Division I athlete for sure. And he's brought that athleticism to bear on that play as the Wildcats try to get it going offensively. Horn set at the top for Bowie, and he'll take a long three. No good. Rebound pulled down by Brandon Suggs.
It's a good shot there by Bowie. They played flat on the ball screen, had the open look, just didn't knock it down.
It's going to be a key for Bowie this year. Started out hot from beyond the arc last season. Ended the season shooting just 30% from three-point range. Here's a fall away from the leading scorer, and Jacoby Ross gets himself going. It's 4-0 Lions early on.
Yeah, good balance there by Jacoby Ross, getting to that mid-range and just knocking it down.
We mentioned this Lindenwood team, very athletic, Division I talents as Pete Nance misses the jumper there. This is a team that's starting 3 former Division I players and 2 JUCO transfers as Ross steps into a 3 and misses. Robbie Barron was fouled on the rebound. Little push off in the back from Suggs, first whistle of the game.
Yeah, and then as a Division II player, the thing that the Division I team always preaches is that you want to be able to make a statement. You want to prove that you belong at this level. And so these guys obviously come in with a chip on their shoulder. Like you said, they have the D1 transfer, so they're not scared.
Mentioned this is the second game of the year for Lindenwood. They had an exhibition against St. Louis University earlier this season. We're down by just 4 at the half before St. Louis opened it up. As here goes Bowie right to the rack, and the first points of the season for Northwestern are from their point guard.
Yeah, Bowie's the guy who needs to improve on getting to the basket, a really good three-point shooter. Only shot 36% inside the paint last year, so he's a guy that needs to be able to get to the basket for the Wildcats.
Aggressive defense from Bowie there up top, putting some pressure on Caldwell Jr. He waits for the screen from the newly entered Frazier Ott, and now the ball swings around. Ross thought about a 3, pulls it down with 3 on the shot clock, drives the rim, and gets the whistle against Simmons. Ross taking it at Northwestern in the early going, and he'll go to the line for a pair.
Yeah, Ross is a guy who's a confident player. Started off at Alabama State. He was freshman of the year. Coach Mo Williams, who's former NBA champion, came in, so he brought his own recruits. The guy that had to transfer. Still trying to find his way, but good start for Ross here. Had a good game against St. Louis as well.
We mentioned that St. Louis game. Like I said, this is a team that kept it very close against a solid St. Louis squad. Not a bad team at all in the Atlantic 10, a very good basketball conference. Jacoby Ross led the way with 13 points, 5 of 12 from the field in that game. And here he has 3 early points as he splits the pair of free throws, and Lindenwood out to a 5-2 lead. Wildcats facing some pressure early on.
Yeah, obviously they got to get it going offensively. Get the ball to Pete Nance like they did right here.
Nice slip from Nance, and he finds the hook shot. Bottom of the basket for Nance, his first points of the season, and the Cats have cut it to 1 here. Lots of subbing from Lindenwood early. We've seen 2 players come in already. And Anthony Christian waiting, but here a steal from Barry. Coast to coast he goes, and Ty Barry puts the Wildcats in front for the first time.
And that's a great job by Ty Barry. Listening to the scouting report, and Scout this morning, they talked about how they wanted to deny that pass, that reversal pass. Good job by Ty Barry reading that.
And here a tough moving screen call on Frazier Ott. They were trying to get it to Trent Champagne on the previous play, and now Anthony Christian comes into the game. Already Lindenwood 8 deep, and there you see Barry read it all the way, like you said, Trey. And Champagne not quick enough to deny him that steal. Now the Cats rolling a bit. Northwestern still with their starting 5 out there. Nearing 4 minutes into the game as Bowie gets a screen from Barron at the top. Secondary screen from Nance frees up Barron. Nice pass inside. Cats trying to work this look here, but Nance can't find the hook shot. And the rebound is cleared by Christian.
Yeah, you like to see Nance aggressive there early with the hook shot. Maybe want to see him get a little bit closer to the basket against a smaller Lindenwood team.
Here's Anthony Christian, another former D1 player, as he gives it off to Jacoby Ross. And now Frazier Ott coming to the ball. Gets it back out top for Burrell. Romello Burrell, local product, went to Morgan Park High School, won a state championship with that Morgan Park team. Now kicks it out. Late shot clock 3 from Champagne is no good.
Situations, good start right here for Pete Nance.
After the foul on the rebound, Lindenwood to inbound. They get into the corner to Champagne. As Christian starts a drive, now kicks to Burrell. Bit of a mismatch on Ryan Greer, but he walked with it. A little bit overeager from Romello Burrell that time.
Yeah, Ryan Greer, strong upper body, able to use his strength to push Burrell out to force the turnover.
There you see it. Burrell, a bigger guy than Greer, but Greer's got those muscles in the arms.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, showed up with him that time. Great cut from Ty Barry, but couldn't find the finish. That time Burrell with a good contest. And now the Lions coming the other way. Another sub in for Lindenwood. That's Keon Batchman into the game. We've seen the Lions rotate deep in the early going here. No surprise. They saw a lot of rotation against St. Louis as well. For Northwestern, their first sub waiting at the scorer's table besides Greer, who already came in, as a 3 is off the mark from Burrell that time. Greer came in for Casey Simmons. The first year starting a bit slow with 2 fouls as Bowie drives hard. Finishes with the left.
Nice finish there by Boo Buie. I like this lineup with Greer and Boo Buie having 2 ball handlers for the Wildcats, something that Chris Collins has talked about to be able to, have 2 ball handlers for guys to make plays, and the other guys just have to knock down shots.
Yeah, and that time Bowie took advantage of the open space of the paint created by that 2-point guard lineup potentially. More subs coming in both ways. Lindenwood has been rotating deep, like I said. Jacoby Ross back in the game along with Brandon Suggs. And for Northwestern, Elijah Williams, the transfer from Fairleigh Dickinson, seeing his first action. He's the second guy in off the bench. He's going to be an interesting player for this Northwestern team. And another one of the first years, seeing his first minutes as a Wildcat, Julian Roper in, and he makes a great defensive play to tip that to Nance. Roper gets it on the other end, and looked like he was going to go for a 3, had it poked out from behind, but early action for Roper.
Yeah, Roper's going to be a key guy for them, especially with Deej out. So he's going to be a guy that they're going to look to for offense and to also be a 2-way player on the defensive end as well.
We've talked a little bit about this first-year class for Northwestern, the best recruiting class in program history by Big Ten rank and by average composite rank. And they're going to have the opportunity to show their stuff early, like you said, Trey, with the injuries. As here Williams working some post moves. After the spin, left it short, and Christian able to collect the rebound.
I like that move, though. Quick move. Obviously, it's the first game, so there's going to be some rustiness, but you like to see the aggression there from Williams.
More aggression from Pete Nance that time. He does get whistled for the foul. Maybe came over a little bit too hard to try to contest that shot, and Lindenwood goes back to the line, chasing 3. Nice hard drive this time by Christian. Mentioned he's another former D1 player. Started his career at Rhode Island before going D3 with Wabash Valley. He's had a circuitous route to end up at Lindenwood, but certainly a player who can play with the big boys, and he's in the line for 2 here.
Yeah, you can see he has a strong body. He's not afraid to get to the basket. Yeah, he's a guy that comes off the bench, brings a spark plug for the Lindenwood team. Look for him to be a key contributor contributor for Lindenwood tonight.
And here's a really interesting lineup for Northwestern. Going small as Robbie Barron comes in for Pete Nance. We did not see anything like this lineup last year with Barron or Williams as an undersized 5. Gives Coach Collins a lot of flexibility for this Northwestern squad as Bowie drives the lane again, finding space again, but this time misses the little floater. And here come the Lions the other way. Pull up triple for Ross, won't go down. A nice strong rebound from Williams.
And you see Williams here. He's a guy that could play point forward. He could bring the ball up, be a distributor, be a guy that can handle the ball. That's important for the Wildcats to have another guy who can handle the ball.
Cold shooting start continues for Northwestern as Roper misses a 3. Wildcats 4 for 11 from the field so far. Haven't hit a 3 yet for Lindenwood. Only shooting 25% from the field. And there's a foul before the giveaway from Ross. Did look like the Northwestern defense caved in on him. And already for the Cats, that's their 5th foul as a team in the early going here as we see the trip in the middle.
Yeah, it's hard to hard hedge on a quick guard like that just because of their ability to split the screen, as we saw Ross do right there.
Northwestern holding this 3-point lead. Neither team has scored in nearly 2 minutes now. For Lindenwood, they haven't scored in nearly 4 minutes. The Wildcat defense, after a bit of a slow early start, is really locked down as Ty Berry comes back to the scorer's table.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see where offense is going to come from. Obviously, Lindenwood losing their leading scorer last year, TJ Crockett. So it's going to be Coach Gerdeman before the game was talking about he doesn't quite know where the offense is going to come from, but, just a rough start for them so far, but let's see if they can get it going.
And there we saw Christian trying to create, but once again, Ryan Greer walled him up. More of that strong defense as Ty Berry comes back into the game. Northwestern stays with a smaller lineup. It's Roper, Greer, Berry, Williams, and Barron on the floor for the Cats. And Williams now driving hard, takes it in, and the foul. There's that strength from the transfer.
That's the physicality that this Northwestern team needs. It's especially going to pay dividends in the Big Ten as they play against bigger guards, bigger forwards, bigger centers.
And Frazier Ott may be 6'8", but he's just 199 pounds. He's just not big enough to match up with Elijah Williams in the paint. Williams, of course, coming off of a very good season at Fairleigh Dickinson. He shot 42% from 3 last year in that point-forward role, Trey. This is a guy who can do a lot of different things for you as he buries the free throw.
I think one of the most important things is the personality that he brings. Has a chip on his shoulder. He's a physical, tough kid, so a big pickup for the Wildcats.
And there Williams showed why. He slimmed down a little bit, gotten a bit more athletic in the offseason this year, hoping to contribute a lot to this Northwestern squad with NCAA tournament aspirations. Pull up long 2 from Carrington Davis, no good. And there's Williams clearing another rebound. He looks good in the early going. So Wildcats looking to extend this 5-point lead. Greer around the screen, now Roper. He's working on Davis. Barron's first shot attempt of the game is good from 3. Tough 3 from Robbie Barron, but he knocks it down.
That might be one of the most important things for the Wildcats is the other guys being able to knock down shots when Boo Buie and Ryan Greer get in the lane. Those other guys got to be ready to shoot. Good shot there by Robbie Barron.
That was one of the biggest learning things for Robbie Barron last year in his sophomore season. He shot 35% from 3, not bad, as there's a buried 3 in the corner by Davis to answer back. But he didn't take quite enough, is what Chris Collins often said, as you see the rim run from Elijah Williams. Had a couple of nice layups on the inside. He's been playing some good defense on the other end as well. Lindenwood trying to get going offensively. They've scored just 3 in the last 5 minutes and 16 seconds. In that time, Trey, they've turned it over 5 times. Trying to work with this starting group back on the floor. All 5 starters back in, and a back cut from Burrell. Working against Williams, a bit over-aggressive on the challenge, and he's going to send Romello Burrell to the line.
Burrell is a veteran player. Got to the foul line actually 12 times against St. Louis in the exhibition game. Didn't have a field goal, but had 11 points. So he's a guy that knows how to get to the foul line.
This is where he lived against St. Louis. You mentioned 0 for 8 from the field. And for Burrell, he's not a bad shooter. 39% from 3 last year. That was an aberration. But like you said, he knows how to get to that free throw line. And that's going to be so important for this Northwestern team going forward, is stopping guys like Burrell from getting those chances, those free points at the clock stop.
Absolutely. And also Northwestern has to get to the foul line themselves. They were last in the Big Ten in getting to the foul line. So that's an area that they're going to have to improve on as well.
And that's something they're looking to Elijah Williams for, I think it's safe to say. As here Burrell buries 2. In the early going here, Lindenwood 3 for 6 from the line. Northwestern just 1 for 1. But here's a nice move by Greer, and he'll go to the line for 2 more. Nice little give and handoff from Barry and Greer. Worked that action very nicely. Right off the whiteboard and right onto the court right there. But they're actually going to call this foul on the ground for Greer. So no free throws just yet for the Cats. As here he works it up top to Williams, and the Cats will set it up. Greer sees the double, finds Barry in the corner. Now here's Ryan Greer, one of 2 captains on this team, driving hard, dishing to Williams. Probably got fouled there as well, but he gets the bucket to go.
And you can see Ryan Greer's growth offensively. He's a guy that Coach Collins is really looking for to make plays. Good job getting by his defender and finding Williams for the easy 2.
Yeah, let's talk about that growth a little bit, because Ryan Greer, when he came in, remember, came in early, what would have been his high school senior season. He was up in Evanston providing this team with some point guard depth they desperately needed. And at that time, Ryan Greer was not ready on the offensive end to play at the Big Ten level. As here Williams is blocked by Burrell, and now Greer diving on the floor and gets fouled, showing that grit again. But that's something he's always had, that grit, Trey. Talk about how that offensive game has developed for him over this last 4 years.
I remember playing pickup against him when he first came. He did not want anything to do with the offensive end, but you could tell that he was a guy that was willing to learn, has bought into Coach Collins' program, and is going to be a key contributor here for the Wildcats for this upcoming season.
Couple of subs for Northwestern. Now we see the 3rd first year. Brooks Barnheiser out on the floor for the Cats. All 3 first years have now seen action in the early going. Barnheiser, the scorer of the trio, at least that's what we're told, as Nance misses the baby hook right at the rim. Now coming back the other way comes Lindenwood. Barry did well defensively to stop the ball, and the long 3 is no good from Davis. Nance clears the board. And here's some point center action from Pete Nance. We saw a lot of this last season, and he gets the switch. They're going to try to get it into Nance from Barry in the corner. Instead, he'll back it out for Greer. Boo Booey waiting on the sideline as Greer kicks. 3 from Barron is no good. He gets his own board, though, and surges in. Can't get it. Another tip from Barnheiser, no good. And finally, the Lions clear.
That was a good job by Taylor for Lindenwood, fronting Nance on the post, not allow him to get a easy post in.
Good active hands there from Barron on the interior. Bowie coming back into the game for Greer. So no more of that 2-point guard look that we saw early from Collins. Now the Wildcats in a bit of a scoring rut. They've missed their last 5 field goals, Trey.
Yeah, I think it's, obviously with the new lineups, with the freshmen, there's going to take some time to, get that offensive rhythm, but it'll come.
And we're already seeing, better to have those growing pains now, certainly, than a few games down the line. Something to work on in the exhibition contest. Pass to Champagne. He drives inside. Now kicks to Burrell. The local product is stripped going up. Active hands from Ty Berry. Now Berry trying to go coast to coast, and he's fouled on the way up by his fellow number 3. Berry will go to the line at the expense of Sherrod Taylor, seeing his first action of the game.
Northwestern was 3rd in the Big Ten last year in steals percentage, so this is a team that can get their hands on the basketball, get out in transition. It's going to be a key for them to also have a good steal percentage this year. And
that was a real emphasis down the stretch from Coach Collins for this Northwestern team that started off the Big Ten slate, not defending at the level they're accustomed to.
Right, and I think a lot of that had to do with the lapses. This team has the athleticism, it has the desire. There was just some lapses last year and on the defensive end. So with the older group, we should expect to see them be more consistent on the defensive end.
And that's something Pete Nance talked to us a lot about yesterday, and has talked to you about, I'm sure, more than that, about how this team feels like they're ready to get past those lapses that have led to some tough losses in years past. This is a big time to work out whatever of those lapses remain, and so far the Northwestern defense has been on point. After the split pair of free throws from Barry, they lead at 19-10. Strong drive, but right into the belly of Nance that time. Goes Batchman, and here come the Wildcats the other way. Nance has looked great on the defensive end so far. Barron working on Batchman, got right past him inside, but missed at the rim, and it's going the other way. Barron thought he was fouled, I think.
You still want to see that from Robbie Barron. Aggressive. He's going to be a guy that's going to be able to catch the ball outside the three-point line. He's not going to take more than 2 or 3 dribbles. So it's a good sign from Robbie Barron, being able to get into the paint, just wasn't able to come up with a finish.
That's something that Coach Collins talked a lot about as well, that need for Barron to involve himself more on the offense. A foul around the screen this time. Wildcats nearing the bonus. They're in the bonus offensively. They just had their last foul to give on the defensive end. Seen a lot of whistles here in the early going. 13 combined fouls now in just under 11 and a half minutes.
And I think if you're Coach Collins, you don't mind those fouls. You want to see your team play physical. And if you look at the bodies of these guys have been in the weight room. They put in the work, and you can see the physicality here early on from the Wildcats.
Another later shot clock situation here as Champaign gives to Burrell. Now Christian trying to break down Nance. Kicks to the corner. Burrell, good three-point shooter. Missed everything that time. And to speak to your point there, Trey, so far Lindenwood has just 2 points in the paint. There's another bucket on the inside, on the other hand, for the Wildcats, who have 14 points in the paint.
And that's what we talked about pregame. Pete Nance being assertive, getting the seal, able to get the ball and get the finish.
And now great defense on the interior from Nance. Barnheiser running the other direction. More transition chances for the Cats. Barry is fouled as he went to the rim. Just 5 points in the last 9 minutes of game action, as here Ty Barry sinks the first of a pair. Now the second time that Barry has gotten to the line so far tonight, we talked a little bit in the open, and we've heard a lot of talk about Barry as a more ascendant player in terms of scoring this season. So far we're seeing that. He's got 7 early points.
And you love to see him getting to the basket. We know that he's a great three-point shooter and has the ability, but I think as he grows and continues to grow as a player, it's going to be him getting to the basket, and that'll open up his three-point game.
And speaking the three-point game, Trent Champaign knocks one down. The transfer from Quincy, who the Wildcats faced last season, though Champaign didn't play in that game. It's a big three to stop the drought, and now a foul off the ball. Barry earned it, and he's going right back to the line. He's been working really hard against Jacoby Ross to get himself open. Ross didn't like that call, but Barry, another free throw trip.
And he's just playing physical. He's just playing physical. You've seen how he's gotten stronger from his freshman to his sophomore year. And when you're, as a scorer and as a shooter, whenever you have the ability to get to the foul line, see the ball go into the basket, even though he missed there, it gives you a rhythm for your upcoming shots.
And that was an issue for Barry early in his career. He did not make a free throw, or he was below 50% on free throws, pardon me, for the first 15 games of his Wildcat career. Cleaned that up near the end, of course. But here, 3 for 5 as he missed the front end of that 1-and-1. Nice cut again from Burrell, but he's in jail on the interior. And Elijah Williams with another nice defensive play on the inside.
And it was a good job there by Boo Buie walling up. He got beat on the back door, but was able to wall up and force the turnover.
The athleticism has been on display in the early going from Northwestern as Nance is open for a catch-and-shoot three, but missed off the left side of the iron.
It's good offense there by the Wildcats. Boo Buie, good decision, hitting the guy coming back. Pete Nance just missed it.
Casey Simmons working defensively against the leading scorer for Lindenwood, and he forced him into a bit of a tough pass. Champaign steps out of bounds as a result, and it's another turnover for the Lions.
Casey Simmons is a guy who can guard a 5'10" point guard like Ross, and I think he's a guy that can, if he has to later on, guard a guy like Kofi for Illinois. So he's a guy that can guard anybody on the court, and that's why the Wildcats are excited about him. And
that defensive versatility is so valuable for a Northwestern team that wants to play a lot of different personnel groups this year. I mean, Simmons can fit in with a lot of them.
It's always easy to play a guy like that. A guy like what we had, Sanjay Lumpkin, he was so easy. He didn't need the ball, and we see him shooting a three here.
In and out for Simmons on the offensive end. But yeah, talking about Sanjay Lumpkin, I mean, Casey Simmons doesn't quite have the body mass of a Lumpkin type just yet. But if he can be that same kind of Swiss Army knife defensive player, that will be so valuable for this Northwestern team going forward.
Sure, you need those glue guys, especially when you have scoring and Boo Buie and when Chase Audige comes back.
Pete Nance with the rejection on the inside. Ross tried to beat him. He's just too long, and now running the other way. Feed the big man back, and he's got another bucket. Cats up 12, and a travel. Northwestern putting defensive pressure on all over the court right now, Trey.
Pete Nance, that's growing, that's maturing as a player. As we see here, running the floor after the block. Freshman year, after that block, he may have jogged down the floor, but
flex on the camera a little bit.
There you go, there you go. But as you see, he was able to run the floor and get the easy two.
And what a find from Elijah Williams, too. You talked about his point-forward capabilities, Trey. He has shown those off so far. He's got the 7 points, 4 rebounds, and now an assist to go along with it. Doing it all for the Cats in the early going.
Pete Nance has to take advantage of this mismatch.
And now going over Burrell. Great weak side help from Armello Burrell to force a tough shot. Now Lindenwood still in an offensive malaise. Just 13 points through nearly 15 minutes. Never where you want to be as an offense.
Right, Northwestern's doing a really good job of plugging up the gaps on their dribble drives, playing really good ball screen defense, which is contributing to their struggles.
And here you see the lateral movement from Simmons. He was all over him that time, but still finding that left-handed hook is Keon Batchman for his first bucket of the night.
It's a good move there by Batchman, able to take advantage of the freshman on that play.
Now getting it into Williams, trying to make him hurt on the other end, but didn't go quickly enough. Bowie, corner three, had to pass out of it. And that's that athleticism of this Lindenwood team. They're flying around on the defensive end trade. In that regard, they're a lot like a Division I opponent for this Northwestern squad.
They are. It's like playing a team, from like the SWAC or, a low major team, because a lot of these guys came from those programs. So,
right.
And you're seeing the athleticism on display here tonight.
Back to the starting group, except for Champagne and Batchman for Lindenwood. Champagne, who just hit a three a couple minutes ago, gives off to Burrell. Good matchup here for Robbie Barron in the post. Wildcats bringing some help, and it's stripped loose by Greer, but the late whistle will go against Ryan Greer, and that puts Lindenwood in the bonus. Burrell going to the line for a 1-and-1.
It's a good help there by Greer, just a little bit too physical on that, but like we said earlier, we want to see the Wildcats be physical on the defensive end, and they're doing a good job here early.
Yeah, certainly no fouls that you would categorize as lazy so far, I think it's fair to say.
Absolutely.
Here's Burrell. We mentioned how often he gets to the line. Was such a valuable player for this Lindenwood team last year. Second on the team in minutes behind TJ Crockett, who we talked about. Second team All-American at Division II. But Burrell here misses the front end of the 1-and-1, and now the Cats chance to extend this lead a little bit. Seen some good looks from Ryan Greer in the early going. Now he passes to Barron. Open, top of the key three, no good. And running the other way are the Lions. Caldwell Jr. Bowie did a good job to stop the ball that time.
Very good job. And that's what they talked about in scouting. They wanted to stop them in transition with their quicker guards.
Burrell working on Nance now. So Wildcats get a lit cross mash coming back. Lindenwood doesn't go at either of those matchups, though. Step back three from Champagne is no good. Northwestern slowing it down a little bit. They've got that two-point guard lineup out there again with Greer and Bowie. And now Nance with a mismatch. They're going to call the offensive foul.
He's gonna keep fighting, and his team is going to follow suit in that. He's a guy that gives you great confidence as an offensive player. He's a great motivator. Everybody's going to understand their roles, and as this team gets older, they're buying into as they buy into his system, they should win some games this year in the Big Ten.
And we saw that sort of gel, that motivation come together in the last 3 games of last season when Northwestern went on a 3-game winning streak. As here Julian Roper draws the foul. He'll go to the line for the double bonus now. That's the 10th foul on Lindenwood. Northwestern did a great job getting to the line. So that's the missed 3 by Ross on the other end. Roper draws the contact. He'll get 2 shots here. And like you said, Trey, this is a team that's had a lot of negative experiences in terms of wins and losses.
Right.
Pete Nance has talked about when they were a younger team, they were a bit more fractured after those losses, but he's... felt them come together over the course of last season. And I think we saw that down the stretch when they won 3 in a row.
Yeah, and then this Northwestern team has last year played the toughest schedule in the history of college basketball. So, I mean,
it sounds like hyperbole, but it's not. I mean, the Big Ten was just that good last year.
And so I think being battle-tested, playing against the best teams in the country last year, returning a lot of their guys, 7 out of 8 of their guys, is only going to help the Wildcats, and they're primed to surprise some people in the Big Ten.
So Roper gets the first 2 points of his Northwestern career, albeit in an exhibition setting, with the free throws, and the Wildcat defense swarming again, and it's another walk on Lindenwood. Northwestern has forced 12 first-half turnovers. The defense is everywhere.
That, like we talked about earlier, this is a good job by Ryan Greer here, staying in front, getting over that ball screen. They're a team that can really cause a lot of turnovers, so they did it last year, they got to do it this year.
Bowie around the screen from Barron at the top of the key. Now rejects the screen from Williams, drives in, floats it up, no good. And Barron not quite there for the rebound. Running the floor the other direction. Come the Lions. Ross gave it up, and now the other side, it's Carrington Davis back to Ross. He's been pretty quiet since the very start. Ross 1 for 5 from the field with 3 points so far. Lindenwood's leading scorer last game, but he drives in this time, forces it up. No good again. Great contest on the interior by Northwestern. It was Williams coming down with the rebound that time. And Roper steps into a long triple and drains it. Julian Roper the second with his first made field goal of his Northwestern career.
And you look at how smooth his jump shot is as he continues to develop his offensive game and learn how to be, a scorer in the Big Ten. He's going to be a guy to look out for the Wildcats in the future.
And he fought around the screen very nicely that time as well, showing something on both ends. Catching the corner from Ross. Davis, a bit of an open look from 3, can't get it to go down. The Wildcat defense continues to suffocate as Greer comes the other way, crossed up Ross, nowhere to go. Now kicks to Barron, corner 3 is short, but Barron, for the second time, gets his own rebound and gets another foul.
You love to see Barron taking that shot. You might as well.
100%.
Obviously struggled a little bit with confidence last year, the three-point line. The best way to gain your confidence is just to keep shooting. Coach Collins is the guy that wants you to keep shooting. And so good job by Barron there, just continuing to stay confident, and got rewarded with the foul on the offensive rebound.
And folks, when this guy says the best way to retain your confidence is to keep shooting, he knows it. Top 10 in Northwestern history and made 3-point field goals right next to me on the booth.
And I think I'm first in all-time missed field goals. So there's a stat. I think that's the only thing I lead Northwestern in, so it's all good.
But hey, you made them when they counted a lot of the time.
Absolutely.
I remember some big games. Michigan late in the season, junior year, that double overtime game. I mean, there were some. Nobody hit bigger threes between 2012 and 2016 than Trey Demps.
In all seriousness, that's the confidence that Coach Collins gives you. He's a guy that he doesn't care if you missed your last 7 or 8 shots. He wants you to shoot it again. And so Robbie Barron has to continue, as we see him over here on the sidelines, telling Robbie Barron to continue to shoot and giving him some tips about his mechanics. He's a guy that wants you to just be aggressive and remain confident, and Robbie Barron has to do that this year.
And that time, Barron made his 2 free throws, so he gets a positive possession out of it. Now Ross with the kick-out 3, no good again. Cold stretch for the Lions continues. Williams running the floor once again. Had a lot of success in that role so far, but this time gives it up to Greer. 70 seconds to go in the first half. Cats in control. Roper again, short that time on the 3. Julian Roper giving the Cats some really good minutes here at the end of the first half as Champagne chucks up a triple, no good again, and Roper skies for the board.
You can see just the versatility of Roper, able to guard Ross, has a smooth jump shot. He's a guy that the Wildcats are really excited about for their future.
And there's Matt Nicholson, the 7'1" center, just coming into the game for the first time. The Wildcats have now gone through all 10 of their dress scholarship players today, and Nicholson quickly draws a foul. He'll go right to the line. Nicholson, Kansas native. He's such an interesting player, Trey, because he came in when he was first getting recruited at this program. They had him at 6'10", and Collins told us yesterday he's now 7'1". He's kept growing. He's up there with the biggest guys in the Big Ten now, and he's starting to fill out that tall frame.
Yeah, he's a guy that played 9 games, shot 45% from the field last year. He's a guy that has worked with Brian James, the big man's coach. Hopefully this year he can give the Wildcats some key minutes, especially when you go against the Big Ten and you got guys like Kofi and other big men, Dickerson, Michigan.
Yeah.
Hopefully he's a guy that can give you some minutes to bang those guys around.
And he goes 1 for 2 from the line. First points of the year for Matt Nicholson. And the Cats have their lead out to 18 with 43 seconds to go. Looking for their first points in 4.5 minutes are the Lions. Burrell working on Greer, who walls him up again. Tough shot. And that's just not going to go. How about the defensive effort in this first half from Ryan Greer?
Ryan Greer is not a guy that you want to post up. You think that you have a mismatch, but when you see that upper body strength, it's hard to score on him on the post.
Yeah, a lot like a Kyle Lowry type, really, when you think about it in the NBA. Lowry, another dude who, you think you want that mismatch on him in the post, and you're just not going to score. And here Greer gets the horn set, slips right through, but is rejected with authority on the inside. Barry has to get it off. No good. The tip from Williams not quite there. And I think that's good if it goes. No, they're going to say no basket. I don't think that's...
And a lot of that comes from the free throw line.
So far, so good in those categories for Northwestern. Both starting lineups back out on the floor, and Nance, head of steam. And he's going to go right to that free throw line. I think Pete Nance wishes he had that finishing attempt back. But either way, we talk about it, and here it comes. Nance back to the line for the Cats.
Great call there by Coach Collins, getting a little bit of a rub action. It's hard to guard that because as a guard, you don't want to switch onto a bigger Nance. So they stayed with their men, and Nance was able to get to the line to get 2 free throws.
And one thing, as Nance misses the first, that they've talked about a lot with Nance in the offseason and last season is he's just faster than virtually any other big that's going to try to guard him. So actions like that can be so crucial to get him good space because of that advantage.
Right, and you saw it against Kofi in Illinois. You saw it against Garza, how he last year. Took advantage of Garza's size and his quickness. So he's a guy that creates mismatch opportunities.
Quick third foul here for Casey Simmons, who picked up 2 early ones in the first, and as a result didn't get to play too much. And Julian Roper, who had a very strong first half the first year, will replace his fellow first year. Already 5 points for Roper in the early going. For Simmons, he's only been able to play 7 minutes.
And Simmons will learn as he gets older how to play good defense without fouling. It's a common thing for a lot of freshmen to learn how to play good defense without fouling.
Julian Roper wearing that number 5 as he comes out on Burrell, who misses. It's hard not to be reminded of Anthony Gaines when you look at Roper's body type. He's not quite as big or as physical as Gaines, but he's got that same level of athleticism, that same level of ability to guard different types of players. And we saw him get out on the taller Burrell that time.
And he has more offensive ability than Gaines did.
That's also a good point, yes. As Barron buries a 3. Talk about offensive ability. Second made 3 on 5 tries for Robbie Barron. He has not been shy about taking them so far.
You see Coach Collins going to his bigs. His first 2 plays out of the half are for his bigs and getting Robbie Barron an open shot there.
Bowie trying to run the floor off the rebound from Nance. Ahead to Barron, who jams it home. Beautiful lob from the Cats, and they're cruising up 24.
And Boo Buie only has 4 points tonight, but you just love to see his ability to run the team, take good shots, take what the defense is giving him. He's done a really good job of running the show tonight.
And they're going to get Roper on the foul there. Going inside was Burrell. But Roper, like we were talking about, has shown his versatility as we get that highlight again. Up top for Barron, who puts it away. Cats are flying in the early going. Lindenwood has not scored in nearly 7 minutes of game action.
And we talked about earlier how this recruiting class was the highest recruiting class. I think the reason for that is their ability on the defensive end.
We've seen that from Roper so far. He's on Burrell again. He's defending him well. Tough all the way, not close. Once again, Julian Roper puts in a great defensive shift.
And if you could play defense for Coach Collins, you will be on the court. That's one of the things that Coach Collins loves, tough players. Roper showing here today that he is a capable defender in the Big Ten.
Boo Buie gives to Ty Berry, and over the top, a little too tall for Nance. So the misfire from Barry. Wildcats have gotten much better about taking care of the ball recently. That is another turnover, their 5th of the game. Now Davis the other way. 3 players waiting to come in for the Lions as they try to get something going offensively. Tough 2. No good once again for Jacoby Ross. He's 1 for 8 from the field now. And Lindenwood has seen their shooting percentage dip below 20.
And the length of the Wildcats is really disrupting Lindenwood, as we see Nance getting a putback there. Ross having to go against guys like Roper, Boo Boo, who's a good on-the-ball defender, having a little bit of a difficult time getting his shot off.
And that time a tough drive by Roper that gave Nance the opportunity on the putback, and now had to feel like he had a head of steam there for the first time in a while, did Jacoby Ross, but the foul called out top. And now subs for Lindenwood. Caldwell Jr. going to come in. Anthony Christian going to come back into the game. We're also going to see Frazier Ott for the first time since the middle of that first half.
And if you look at Ross's body language, you could tell he is a little bit frustrated, and that's what you want. You know, obviously that's Lindenwood's best scorer. When you can get the best team scorers frustrated and have, you know, negative body language, you know you're doing your job as a defender.
That is the 4th traveling violation of the game for Lindenwood. Ott walks with it that time. Northwestern just has Lindenwood flustered in every aspect of the game right now.
This Wildcat team has all the potential in the world on the defensive end. And like we said earlier, if they can get stops and get out in transition with ball handlers like Boo Booey, and when Chase gets back, this team will be hard to stop.
Remember, this Lions team, as Bowie drives right past Caldwell and finishes at the cup. Tough 2 for Boo Booey. Remember, this Lions team scored 66 against St. Louis. Not a great number, but nowhere close to this level of offensive struggle that we have seen so far. It's just a good defensive performance by the Wildcats.
Right, and that St. Louis game, they were in the game the first half. It was 35-39, and at no point in this game have you felt like Lindenwood has really been in the game.
Traveling violation number 5, and even if he didn't walk with it, there was just about no way that Frazier Ott was going to be able to find a bucket there. Nance was all over him again. And that's a quick sub right back out of the game for Ott and right back into the game for Brandon Suggs. Mentioned Suggs, one of those D1 transfers, played at UMKC for a year and a half. Had 18 blocks in his junior year at UMKC. Before coming on down, or redshirt sophomore year, I should say, before coming on down to Lindenwood. Here, Nance shoots over Suggs and can't quite hit. Nice rebound by Burrell. Lindenwood the other way, trying to get into their offense here. Christian working on Barron. The Wildcats have just locked them up. We're going on nearly 10 minutes, no points for the Lions right now.
And the Wildcats are doing a great job of following the game plan. They're plugging all those gaps, those driving lines. Coach Gerdeman really wants to get players downhill to the basket, get driving kicks, but Northwestern's doing a really good job of not allowing Lindenwood to get to the basket.
Elijah Williams comes back into the game for the Cats. He's been such a great player off the bench for them so far. Just looking at some of the plus minuses for Northwestern as Robbie Barron goes to the bench. Barron has been a plus 26. Both that lineup with Barron and Nance and that lineup with Barron and Williams, both of those lineups, the small ball and the bigger ball lineups, have worked really well for the Cats so far.
Right, and it's only going to get better when Ryan Young gets back on the floor. It's going to give them versatility in the front court.
Nice drive by Roper, kicks out Williams, extra pass, Bowie goes around and is fouled. Maybe one too many passes from Williams there, but the Wildcats do draw the whistle. And that'll take us to the under 16.
Denying the reversal. A year ago, they might have not gotten that steal, but you could tell that this team is more mature. They're following the game plan. Ty Berry got this steal, and that really started the run for the Wildcats in the first half. And Lindenwood hasn't really been able to gain offensive rhythm since then.
Elijah Williams called for the clear-out offensive foul. And this Northwestern team has just been locked in. You talked about them following the game plan defensively. So important to not get out of that mode. And we have not seen Northwestern gamble unnecessarily defensively. All we've seen is lockdown defense, and there it is again from Roper. Back to Nance, and he's fouled coming across by Anthony Christian. was looking for a highlight reel jam, but he'll take the trip to the line. You see it again here. Just mishandling of the ball a little bit, but also it's Roper with the active hands being ready.
Yeah, Roper is we keep talking about him on the broadcast, but Roper is a guy that brings something that from the guard position Northwestern hasn't had in the past. A guy who could guard point guards, can guard wings. The most exciting thing for this Northwestern Wildcat team is, one of the most exciting things is the freshman who can guard multiple positions.
Northwestern shooting 38% from the field, 25% from three, and the missed free throw there from Nance splits the pair. Now down to around 70% on the free throw line. For Lindenwood, the numbers are a lot uglier. As the tough fadeaway just does roll in for Kevin Caldwell Jr., and Lindenwood has broken the scoring drought right before it hit the 10-minute mark. They finally have their first bucket since the 5:17 mark of the first half. It's 44-17. And a foul on the backside by Christian. Already 5 fouls now for the Lions in this second half.
Yeah, on the previous possession there, Caldwell able to get into the lane, balance, get to a little bit of a fadeaway jump shot. They're going to have to continue to fight, continue to try to get good looks on the offensive end like Caldwell did the previous possession.
Still not a single Lindenwood player with more than 4 points. As Nance sets up for a three and can't quite nail it. Running the other direction. Still no fast break points for the Lions. Trying to change that on the inside is Batchman. Kicks it out for Burrell. In and out on the triple. And the tough luck from beyond the line continues for Lindenwood. They're 2 for 18 from three. Nance surveying from the top of the key. Back cut from Barry right inside, and he scores.
Look at the strength there by Barry. Able to absorb the contact, still have good body control, and finish for the tough two.
Carrington Davis trying to make it happen. Brooks Barnheiser ready to check in at the scorer's table for the Cats. As Davis gets it back up top, now Burrell goes inside. Another fall-away jumper, no good. Davis is there on the glass. A rare offensive board for Lindenwood, just their third of the game. Gets them a bucket, and Nance quickly. What an athletic finish from the senior.
And what a pass there by Ryan Greer. We talked about earlier, just his growth of running the team, making plays on the offensive end.
Wildcats do enough defensively to deny that shot, and no-look pass across to Greer. Now he skips it for Barry, drives inside and takes the contact. Barry to the line again. These will be his 6th and 7th free throws of the contest.
And that's a great sight to see if you're the Wildcats. Everyone knows that Ty Barry can shoot the ball. We've seen it in big games, big moments last year. The question about Ty Barry is his ability to make plays off the dribble. And it looks like he's made a point of emphasis there, getting to the foul line 6-7 times now. So that's a good sign for the Wildcats.
And Trey, as you developed it as a shooting guard in this offense, in Coach Collins' offense, in a similar position to Ty, how did you find that growing process, going from being a shooter to being a shot creator?
I think a lot of it has to do with strength. I think as you get stronger, you feel more confident, and you know, you have to go through your lumps. You know, having to go up against guys like Aaron Kraft. You know, you learn eventually. Like, I have to get stronger. I have to be a better ball handler, and it seems like Ty Barry has really made a point of emphasis to work on his dribble drive and his ability to get in the lane.
Every year in the Big Ten, it seems like we see some of the best perimeter defenders in the country. Talked about Aaron Kraft. Daryl Morcell in the league now was Big Ten Defensive Player of the Year and one of the top NCAA defenders last year at Maryland. Plenty of other guys besides those two, of course, as Barnheiser gets the loose ball, and now trying for the lob ahead to Greer. Was Greer to Barron. See Barron tapping himself on the head there. He wants that one back.
Yeah, there was a great pass there by Greer. Robbie Barron just didn't see it, didn't know that it was going to be an alley-oop. But you still love to see the Wildcats push the ball.
And what an interesting lineup this is. So they go for Barron as the small ball 5 as Davis runs one in over the top of Williams. Williams is the 4, and 2 first-years is the 2 and the 3. No look from Barnheiser to Barron. Misses at the rim. Now Barnheiser gets it back. And open in the corner is Roper, looking for his second 3 of the game. Can't quite hit. But the Cats are getting good looks on offense. Burrell spinning, fouled and one. What a tough, twisting finish for the Chicago native.
And Lindenwood definitely needs to get him going. Had a tough shooting night against St. Louis. Tonight here, only 2 of 11. It's important for them to get him going into the regular season. He's a guy that is used to big moments, played with current Chicago Bull, Ayo Dosunmu, won a state championship with him. So he's primed to have a big senior year for the Lions.
It's a great Morgan Park team. Went up against Taylor Horton Tucker Simeon, No-Gel Eastern ZTHS. There were some great teams in Illinois high school basketball that season. As a steal from Greer again, Williams can't quite control it, but somehow gets it to Barnheiser, and his reverse layup won't quite go. Williams' volleyball tap finds nothing but air. And a little bit discombobulated are both teams now, and whistled for the foul that time was Roper.
And right now you're seeing, without Boo Buie on the court, who's done a great job of leading this team and organizing this offense. You have 2 freshmen out there, so it's going to take some time. This is their first game playing in front of fans. So the offense looks a little bit sloppy. That's to be expected.
And talking about those first years, Trey, something we talked about before the game and certainly been a topic of conversation for lots of Northwestern fans and people around the program as Greer has whistled for the foul here. When you look at this Northwestern team, you got 12 scholarship players, including the 3 first years. It sure seems like at least 2 of these 3 guys are going to have to establish themselves as rotation players. And we're already seeing something from at least Roper and Barnheiser. When Simmons has been in, he's been active too.
Absolutely. And these guys, their roles are going to be fairly easy. They're going to have to be able to knock down threes when Chase Adige and Boo Buie get in the lane and find them. And they're going to have to defend. And they're doing a great job showing how they're defending and their ability to guard the ball. Just that next step is going to be being able to knock down open shots.
That depth for Northwestern could be so crucial. Didn't lose much from last year's team. Anthony Gaines, of course, graduated, last year's captain. And Miller Kopp is now at Indiana, transferred out. But other than that, Wildcats bring everybody back. Barnheiser gives to Williams here. Cats working in this 2-point guard offense again with Buie and Greer both on the floor. Barron kicks to Barnheiser, thought about the 3 in the corner. Good defense by Burrell to wall them up. And now with 10 on the shot clock, Greer's going to have to make something happen, and he draws the foul against Sherrod Taylor.
Maturing, looking at yourself in the mirror. And that's what this group is going through right now. Obviously, I wasn't able to, reap the ultimate benefit, but being on the tournament team. But that's what it takes to program. It's not going to happen overnight. Talking to Coach Collins, he said that every year you have to win more and more games in the Big Ten. They won 3 2 years ago. Last year won 6. Now can you get to 9 wins? And that's going to be the key for the Wildcats, is if they can continue to make those progressions in order to get back to postseason play.
Greer makes 2 of 2 there, and that's I think that's such great insight there, Trey, because especially this year in the Big Ten is going to be about as good as it was last year. Tough fadeaway right there for Sherrod Taylor. What a nice shot from the freshman out of Youngstown, Ohio. His first points of the game. For Northwestern, if you want to get back to the NCAA tournament, you don't necessarily need to win 12, 13 games in the Big Ten the way you would have had to in years past. It's about continuing that steady progression as Ryan Greer progresses right to the basket for an easy bucket. And for this Northwestern team, that 8 to 10 win mark might be all they need to get to where their ultimate goal is.
And last year, during that losing streak, there was a lot of defensive lapses. You saw the potential of this team defensively last year. This team looks more hungry. They look more locked into the game plan. Just have to carry that through the non-conference play and then into the Big Ten play.
That'll be something to definitely watch, as here you see a lot more, again, nice effort from Boo Buie. And so impressive to see from a guy like Buie. 11 minutes left in the exhibition game, up 25. Would be easy to take a possession off or 2, right? And that's something we just haven't seen from Northwestern so far in this game.
And talking to Boo Buie, he's a guy that's matured since he's been here. He understands what it's about. obviously it's been a great help having his brother here on the coaching staff. He's talked about how he's challenged him, how they even got into some fights, you know, not physical fights,
right,
obviously.
Right.
But there's just somebody there to family that's going to keep it honest with you, that's going to tell you the truth. And so Taylor Battle being on the coaching staff has just been huge, I think, just for Boo Booey's confidence and just challenging him to be one of the best point guards in the Big Ten this year.
Kick out to Barnheiser, and he drains his first Northwestern three. There's a first year getting going. And getting back to Taylor Battle, that was something I wanted to touch on, so thank you, Trey. Taylor Battle, one of the other big additions to this Northwestern team, in addition to Barnheiser and that great class of first years. New assistant coach for this Wildcat squad. Battle played for nearly a decade overseas after a nice career at Penn State. Took the Nittany Lions to the tournament when a lot of people thought it couldn't be done at that program at that time. A Big Ten, really a Big Ten star in the early 2010s. And now he's here to shepherd this program to try to grow the same way that he was able to at Penn State.
Man, if you don't know about Taylor Battle, go on YouTube and look up some highlights.
Oh,
that
man.
guy was unbelievable in the Big Ten. And like you said, he's on the coaching staff here. One of the things that, talking to some of the other coaches, he understands what the reputation is about Northwestern. You know, he had to put together scouts going up against Northwestern. And one of the things, I mean, that Taylor Battle said is that people wanted to play physical against Northwestern. There was a reputation of being a little bit soft, but so far Northwestern has looked anything but soft against the Lindenwood Lions. And
the intensity continues apace here as Barnheiser, a quick 5 points right there, the three and then the two free throws. And the Wildcats are cruising once more. There was a 6-0 run before the break from Lindenwood. Wildcats have it back out to 32, their largest lead of the night. Champaign tried to change it but couldn't. And Pete Nance pulls down another board. 12 points, 5 rebounds now for Pete Nance. 6 make that, actually, as Barnheiser blocked at the rack. He's put together a solid night.
You see the potential there, Barnheiser. He was a guy that had a foot injury during the summer, so he's just kind of getting his timing back and his rhythm. That's especially tough when you're a freshman, but he's a guy that averaged 33 points per game his senior year in high school, so you know the potential to score the ball and be an offensive threat is there.
Barnheiser, the Indiana native, so we're not talking about bad high school basketball.
Oh, no.
We talk about him averaging 33 per game out of Lafayette. Went to Jefferson High School.
Trust me, Brian Mcintosh always used to talk about how good Indiana basketball was.
Brian Mcintosh, another guy on this Northwestern staff, along with Jershawn Cobb. A couple of your former teammates over there.
Yeah, Jershawn was my roommate in college. Great guy. Obviously, both of those guys were two of my favorite teammates, and seeing them on the coaching staff and contributing to the program is just a great sight to see.
Here we see another nice block from Amelo Burrell. How much has this guy showed you as he goes to the line here on the other end? Burrell, the numbers haven't quite been there today. He's 2 for 11 from the field, but 7 points, 8 boards, 4 blocks, and 2 steals. He's filling up the stat sheet.
He's a guy that, you know, can affect the game in multiple ways. He's not a true scorer, as we talked about earlier. He played with a phenom in high school in Io DeSumo. He knows how to play off guys. He knows how to make winning plays. So Burrell's going to be a guy that they're going to count on for senior leadership and to be a versatile player for Lindenwood.
Nice pick and roll. Nance couldn't quite finish. Simmons on the rebound, couldn't get it to go. And the fight is eventually won by Lindenwood. The Wildcats have been crashing those offensive boards up to double-digit offensive rebounds now. Weren't able to make it count that possession. But the good news for Lindenwood, Burrell, like I said, 4 blocks, 2 steals. Those are numbers you love to see. The bad news for Lindenwood, nobody else on the team has recorded one of either. And that shows you how good this Northwestern offense has been. It's staying on schedule as Bowie drains a 3, his first of the contest. He's up to 9 points.
Like we talked about, Boo Bowie just giving what the defense takes, able to get the open 3 there, not forcing shots like he did last year. And so you see the growth from Boo Bowie, and that's so important for the Wildcats for this upcoming season.
Subs waiting at the table as we near the under 8 timeout. 62-29 rejection from Robbie Barron on the interior.
But I know a thing or two about forcing shots, so I can't really talk. I'm pretty sure everybody in this building can attest to that. So,
hey,
Boo Boo, you got to take them sometimes.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. There are times when you got to force those shots, as I'm sure Chris Collins would tell you if you asked him.
And we see Boo Booey here playing with one shoe. Let's see if he can get it.
Oh, grabbed it back.
Grabbed it back.
Oh,
put
can
it
he put it on? Oh, look at that.
And still got the help side.
Oh, the double dribble. Forced the double dribble without his shoe all the way on his foot. Now that is impressive right there.
That is. With their dribble penetration and then also their defensive performance and getting out in transition and guys being able to score in transition.
See Northwestern run their classic motion around the perimeter, and Nance was fouled on the way in. Cats in the bonus, as they have been for a few minutes now. And so Pete Nance will go back to the line.
And you love to see Pete Nance has 13 shot attempts. We talked pregame that he only averaged 9 shot attempts last year. So you want to see him aggressive. He's 5 of 13. He's a guy you want to see take 13 to 16 shots per game. That's what it's gonna take. And there's gonna be nights where he's, off or he's not gonna have good shooting performances. He's probably not gonna shoot 50% from the field like he did last year. But you want to see him be aggressive and assertive for the Wildcats to have a good year.
Here Nance buries 2 free throws, 4 for 6 from the free throw line now. He's leading the Cats and everybody with 14 points on those 13 shots. And the thing for Nance, when you look at those stats, he's 0 for 3 from 3, all 3 wide open threes. That's just not going to continue for a three-point shooter as good as him. So the Cats have to like what they've seen out of Nance so far. Switching defense, Burrell got free underneath. Great help by Nance. Lindenwood trying to find the open man, but the Wildcats rotate well, and Barry knocks it out and gets the lead pass on the other end, dunks it home. Ty Barry in double figures on just 5 field goals. He's been everywhere for the Cats tonight.
Yeah, Ty Barry is a guy that Coach Collins has talked about. They need his scoring. No matter what role that he's playing, obviously now he's in the starting lineup, but he's a guy that they need to be in double figures.
And we have seen some bright visions of some potential starting lineups so far for Northwestern. This lineup on the floor has seen the most action, although there's a travel going in by Nance. This lineup that started the game with Nance, Bowie, Barry, Simmons, and Barron. And all 5 of those guys, even though Simmons has played limited minutes due to foul trouble, has shown some real contributions. As there we see the Barry dunk once again.
This Northwestern team can be very versatile on both ends of the court. They're going to be able to play a lot of different ways. When Ryan Young comes back, they're going to get the ball in the post a lot more and play off of him, because he's one of the better big post players in the Big Ten. So,
yeah, they can do a lot of different things, and versatile was a key word at the Big Ten Media Day, and not just for Northwestern as this ball bounces around to Carrington Davis, who puts it away. A lot of teams are talking a big game about versatility this year. We talked about Illinois, Kofi Coburn coming back, a dominant big man as Simmons gets inside, can't finish. Nance is there on the follow. Coburn's still there, Dickinson's still there for Michigan. There are still some dominant bigs in this conference, but there are a lot of teams that can do a lot of different things with their lineups. You look at the Michigan States, the Marylands of the world, the Purdues of the world that have a ton of very dynamic wings, and Northwestern feels like this year, Trey, they can count themselves in that category.
Absolutely. In the past, especially when I was there, that was one of the biggest things, is just athletically and just the athletes that other teams had were superior. But as you look at this Wildcat team, that is definitely not going to be an issue. This team is going to be able to match up defensively and offensively with some of the athletes of the other Big Ten schools. So I'm excited to see what they do in the Bit Ten.
Bit of a soft whistle there on Simmons, who gets called for the foul, 3-shot foul. Burrell trying to become the first Lindenwood player in double figures, and he is. A very similar game, actually, for Burrell from his St. Louis game. 2 for 11 from the field, a night from the field that he would like to have back, but now 6 of 7 from the free throw line.
I think part of that is getting used to not playing with T.J. Crockett, a guy who is a pro now. He's playing in Spain. He averaged 28 points per game, as we mentioned. So he's having to get used to being able to be one of the main ball handlers, and it's going to take some time for him because he was used to playing off of Crockett last year.
Burrell does go 3 for 3 from the line, and to your point, if you weren't around this Lindenwood team last year, it's impossible to overstate how much Crockett meant to this team. 28 points per game, we're talking about. Led the team in points every game except for the last one. He was a second-team All-American. He's playing in the second division in Spain right now, Trey. We're not talking about he's playing in Latvia or something. This is a guy who's playing with the big boys, coming straight from Lindenwood. He was a top-tier player, and this is a Lions team that clearly misses his scoring right now.
And talking to Coach Gerdeman before the game, you know, he kind of laughed because we asked him, you know, how they were going to replace him. He just like, you can't replace a guy like that. And so he said he's figuring it out every day how they're going to be able to, create offense. And obviously we're kind of seeing some of the growing pains here for Lindendwood, but hopefully throughout the course of the season they'll figure it out.
Ty Berry becomes the 5th Wildcat to hit a 3 in this game. The shooting has been a good sign in this second half, especially as Nicholson goes up for a rebound and leaves it for Williams instead. Bench-heavy lineup in for the Cats now. And Berry now up to 14 points. He's tied with Nance for the lead in this game. Shown that scoring touch. Especially with Audige out, they're going to rely on him to put the ball in the bucket.
Absolutely, and as we talked about, not only put the ball in the bucket, but put the ball on the floor. And that's what he's been doing today, as you said, his first 3. And so I think the coaching staff for Northwestern is excited that he's not just scoring from the three-point line.
Wow, tough look for Roper. That was an NBA-level shot right there in terms of shot creation. The shot making, maybe not quite there just yet. Tough late shot clock situation. And again, if you're just joining us, we don't know anything about the situation with Audige and Young in terms of how long-term they'll be out for. All we know is that those guys are not available tonight, and we have not heard anything about their prognosis past that. But the team is certainly talking about them as being in their plans for this season. It's safe to say that those are not season-ending injuries for sure. As going the other way and jamming it home is Williams off the takeaway.
And that's exciting for Williams. I'm sure playing in front of a lot of family and friends. There's probably a lot of emotions. Being a guy that wanted to play at the Big Time Conference, didn't get recruited. Now he's in his hometown playing in the Big Ten. You're excited for a guy like Williams.
As Davis comes back and sticks a 3 right in his face. One thing you mentioned to me pregame, Trey, that we haven't touched on yet, Elijah Williams, the first player ever from Evanston Township High School to play for Northwestern. Evanston has had some good players over the years. Mentioned Ogel Eastern, who played on the same team with Elijah Williams in high school and was very good at Purdue in his career, as Berry takes a long 3 and drills it. Great shot from Ty Berry. But how about Elijah Williams? The Wildcats call a timeout to sub.
For his three-point shot, but I think those 2 last three-pointers were set up by his capability of getting to the basket, getting to the foul line, seeing the ball go into the basket, and then that gives you a rhythm to knock down those threes.
And that rhythm could be so important for Berry and Northwestern this season. Is a player they need to succeed to have a chance. So some subs in on both ends. We're seeing our first look at Trayton Trice for Lindenwood. He missed at the cup, and now Williams going coast to coast with the reverse. Showing off some skill, the transfer from Fairleigh Dickinson.
That's that point forward that we talked about, a guy who can get it off the rim, go coast to coast. Great job by Williams there.
Elijah Williams, the only player on the court who's ever been to the NCAA tournament, and certainly the only player in a Northwestern uniform. He was there in his sophomore year with Fairleigh Dickinson, as there's a long 3 from Champaign that he buries. And they won a 16-seed play-in game before falling to the 1 seed that season. So he's got some meaningful postseason experience, the 5th-year senior, for this Northwestern team that they can draw on.
And Williams is a guy that's gotten better every year, averaged 4 points per game as a freshman, 8 as a sophomore, 11 as a junior, and 14 per game last year. So he's a guy that's improved his offensive game every year.
And trying to refine that offensive game now. When we talked to him yesterday, is Barnheiser drives hard and finishes through the contact. Brooks Barnheiser showing some big-time strength on that one. Roy Dixon the third, the walk-on.
Roy Dixon is a guy, I think in college basketball it's not talked about enough how important walk-ons are for your team. They're the guys who are doing the dirty work, that are, doing the things that, that most people wouldn't want to do. So it takes a certain type of personality, and I know Roy Dixon's a guy that everybody on the team loves.
Georgia native on the ball defensively right now. Northwestern saw Eric Zaleski graduate last season, the former student manager who became a walk-on. And they've got 2 walk-ons dressed today with Sandhu and Dixon, as Dixon's going to lead the team up the court here. Dylan Sandhu's still on the bench for now. For Northwestern, this young lineup getting some quality time at the end of this game to try to make something happen. As Roper comes around, takes the handoff from Nicholson. Now nearly makes his defender fall on the step back. Drives in, dishes to Nicholson, and the 7'1" center can't quite finish the dunk, but he got fouled on the way up.
This is a great opportunity for Roper to kind of be the primary ball handler. It gives him some good game experience of being the guy that you depend on to make the plays, and he did a good job of finding Nicholson there.
For Julian Roper, mixed results so far tonight. The shots haven't quite been falling for him. 5 points on 1 of 6 shooting from the field, 1 for 4 from three-point range. But he's gotten to the line. He's got 4 rebounds. He's got an assist and a steal in 21 minutes. He's played some quality basketball.
He has, and we've talked about just his ability to defend. He's a guy who embraces the defensive end of the floor, and you see the shot, you see that it's smooth, it's clean, and so he's just a guy that's going to have to continue to gain some experience playing college basketball.
On the floor for Lindendwood now, a very young lineup as well. Sherrod Taylor joined by Brandon Wampler-Faust. They've got Case Kitchell out there for the first time. Trayton Trice still in as the center. And I'm missing one number. Oh, there we go. Cole Jones, the guard from Hollister, Missouri. Takeaway from Roper. Ahead to Barnheiser, and he is blocked at the top, but was fouled on the way up by Taylor. Barnheiser now working on 8 points. If he buries these 2 free throws, we could see him in double figures in his first Northwestern action. He's only played 10 minutes. He's got 3 steals to go along with it. He's been impressive in limited run.
Barnheiser is a guy who we talked about earlier, has some injury problems, but you seeing him find his way, kind of getting a rhythm. He's done a good job of playing off other guys, making an impact on the defensive end, and he's been able to get some transition baskets to get him close to double figures.
Dylan Sandhu now in the game for Northwestern. Both walk-ons in to go along with 2 first-years and Matt Nicholson. Barnheiser showing high on the hedge. Just a minute 14 to play here. Both teams trying to get their young guys some action. That pull-up is in and out that time for Taylor. It's always a cool moment, even if it is an exhibition, when the walk-ons get a chance to have the ball in their hands.
Absolutely, absolutely. And all the other guys root for them to score because they know the time and what they bring to the team. So it's always cool to see the scholarship guys cheering on the walk-ons.
Roy Dixon that time set up Nicholson to drive to the basket, and he goes to the line again. That's the 25th foul of the game from Lindenwood. And correct me if I'm wrong here, Trey, but it hasn't seemed to me like a problem of discipline, but more that Northwestern has just forced the issue a lot.
Absolutely. I would credit all of Lindenwood's offensive struggles to Northwestern's defense. This is a team that has the capability to be, a big scoring team. They averaged 82 points a year ago. Obviously, they had Crockett, but they still have some guys who can put the ball in the hole, but Northwestern has just done a really good job of making it difficult for the Lions.
For Lindenwood, Davis and Burrell with 12 points each. They both had their solid moments, but outside of that, offense has been hard to come by, as we see an airball 3 from Trayton Trice. One more possession for Northwestern, who has taken a game-high 45-point advantage here late in this one. Everything has come together for the Wildcats here in this second half.
And there's been no lapses on the defensive end. They've stuck to the game plan, and last year they would play, one half or 25 minutes of great defense, and then the lapses would start. And so what we've seen tonight is a Northwestern team that stuck to the game plan defensively the whole night, and it gets their offense going.
Rare 5-second call there against Nicholson, and this will just about do it here from Lindenwood. Ball in the hands of Sherrod Taylor. He's going to take a tough jumper. No good. Rebound by Trice, who is rejected by Barnheiser. One last defensive play for the Cats, and they close out a really impressive win, 85-40.